Today we are reading Tales of the Dolos Rogues, a historical record written by Ptolemy, the Cremnoan historian. This volume chronicles the adventures of several figures from among the 300 rogues of Dolos, the city of thieves. Part 1 of this collectible can be found starting from the Silent Nights Market Space Anchor Inn, Fallen Twilight City, Akama. It is found after repairing the Leo Varix in the hall west of the Dromus Workshop. Part 2 of this collectible can be found starting from Nightshade Courtyard Space Anchor Inn, Fallen Twilight City, Akama. It is given to you after repairing the Leo Varix near the Space Anchor. Part 1. Preface. Since historians began their chronicles, apart from the Chrysos heirs, from city lords and kingdom rulers down to famous warriors and scholarly academics, their achievements have been documented for future generations. Even among common trades, remarkable individuals have had their deeds recorded by historians. Priests named by Aquila the Sky Titan, blacksmiths blessed by Georios the Earth Titan, and even ascetics permitted by Thanatos the Death Titan have all had their lives chronicled. Only those who serve Zagreus the Trickery Titan, who corrupt law with lies and violate rules through deception, yet still dare to boast of their abilities and virtues, are universally condemned. For all their deviations from the path of honor, they are particularly despised by the people of Kremnos. I, Ptolemy, have consumed every word and symbol in the archives of Castrum Kremnos, have never encountered any written chronicle of the kin of the god of thieves, yet while traveling through various states with the king of the Kremnoan detachment, I kept hearing tales of the 300 rogues of Dolos. Dolos, the city of thieves, situated south of Yanissopolis and north of the Grove of Epiphany, operates under different laws than elsewhere, making it fertile ground for trickery and deception. Legend says that 1,000 years ago, the First Chrysos War concluded with the total defeat of the Chrysos air forces. Later, when the Chrysos War reignited, various states again plunged into desperate poverty. The Dolos nobility seized this opportunity to accumulate wealth, then issued anti-fraud decrees to monopolize the city's financial channels, creating dire circumstances for ordinary citizens. To survive, many common thieves departed for other lands, using their talents to deceive people and steal goods. In total, men and women, young and old, approximately 300 gained renown, becoming known as the 300 Rogues of Dolos. I believe these 300 are called rogues, rather than thieves or criminals, because though their actions constitute theft, they possess a heroic spirit. Though they lack honor, they demonstrate either the resilience of self-sacrifice or the appearance of courage. Therefore, I dedicate some portion of my writings to compiling their exploits into this collection. First of the 300 rogues, the thousand-faced Herendo. The true appearance and identity of Herendo cannot be determined with certainty. Some rumors describe a delicate woman skilled in disguise, others suggest a thin man with a versatile voice, and some even claim this person was a Chrysos heir. However, most oral histories agree that this individual was the first rogue to leave Dolos for other states. Tales of their exploits circulated throughout Ionis, the Grove of Epiphany, and Odressian. Herendo excelled at creating false identities to deceive others, and particularly enjoyed repeatedly tricking the same person with different disguises, typically targeting wealthy nobles of questionable character. In the Divine Deception of Dolos, Herendo journeyed alone to the northern city-state of Locus, where, using 100 different identities, they engineered the release of 1,000 innocent prisoners from the cruel usurper's dungeon. Eventually captured, Herendo was sentenced to beheading. However, on the execution day, after the executioner's blade fell, spectators were astonished to discover that the severed head belonged to the usurper himself. Herendo, who had been disguised as the ruler on the viewing platform, removed their mask and calmly departed amid the spontaneous protection provided by the crowd. To escape imprisonment through one's own ingenuity was rare even among the 300 rogues. 97th of the 300 rogues, Bladed Black Velvet Farum. Bladed Black Velvet, also known as the Steel Claw Beast, resembles a large mole. Skilled at tunneling, its claws possess unmatched hardness, capable of severing finely crafted weapons with a single swipe. It often creates massive, irreparable thief tunnels at the base of city walls. Hunting the Steel Claw Beast alone has been a coming-of-age ritual preserved for centuries by certain Kremnoan families. Farum, known for their appearance and methods, earned this infamous nickname. Their portrait survives through the ages, showing a dark face, rough beard, and powerful arms, with hands twice the size of an average man's. Farum is skilled in wielding 2 folded spades and is often seen wearing arm guards. Though not one for words, Farum's ancestors were the Georios priests of Hatusili, with an exceptional understanding of soil and geology. Legend has it that Farum could dig a tunnel several thousand steps along within 2 days, bypassing stubborn rocks and reaching the treasure vault of the aristocrats with precision. In the divine deception of Dolos, Farum ventured to Mithymis, spending 10 days digging a tunnel connecting the homes of 8 aristocrats in the city, ending at the king's treasury. By the time the king noticed, Farum had already made off with more than half the treasure. Though Farum was captured and imprisoned, the treasure mysteriously vanished. The king and aristocrats confiscated Farum's spades and locked him away in a cube-shaped steel prison underground. About half a month later, the treasure from Mithymis appeared in the hands of the common folk across various city-states. The 235th to the 238th of the 300 rogues, the Fearful Birds, the 4 Perla Sisters. The Fearful Birds, also known as the Dulu birds, were once a species of social birds living on the outskirts of Olinus. They usually moved in groups of 4, unable to fly but skilled at gliding, and would feign death when attacked, waiting for the chance to escape in different directions. During the famine of the Chrysos War, this species became extinct due to being easy to capture. The 4 Perla sisters were naturally clever, and it's said that even when fully grown, they remained the size of fledglings. They often appeared together on trade routes, tricking travelers into showing them sympathy. However, those who showed kindness to the 4 sisters often found treasure in their bags upon parting, while those who rudely drove them away faced repeated harassment along the way and eventually lost a great deal of wealth. In the divine deception of Dolos, the 4 Perla sisters first split up, each taking a separate route along the 4 main trade paths to deceive independently. They planned to meet again in a few days, but they failed to do so. One is said to have died, another was imprisoned, the third became disabled, and the 4th disappeared without a trace. Part 2. The 301st of the 300 rogues, the Deceiver, Cyphera. Cyphera, also known as Cypher, was famous for her swift feet and sharp tongue. She often wore a hooded cloak and was commonly referred to as the Lying Cat Cypher or Swift-Footed Cyphera. Later generations often don't count her among the 300 rogues because by the time she gained prominence, the 300 had already become legends, and her career as a swindler and thief only spanned around 20 years by the time the divine deception was accomplished. Cyphera's story, as their author accounts it, is simply astounding. A young woman, practically unknown compared to the other rogues, managed to unite the 300 and pull off the divine deception, even earning the divine authority of trickery. Was this all truly fate as foretold in prophecy? Since Cyphera claimed the divine authority of Zagreus, nearly 900 years have passed. The records of the divine deception of Dolos are unclear, largely because the Chrysos War was raging at the time, and every city-state was preoccupied with its survival, leaving little time to track the core flame of the Calamity Titans, and making everyone focus on the flame chase journey. However, some bards who were there witnessed the entire Spirit Day Deception feast, and later recorded it in poetry, passing it down through the generations. After deciding to seize the core flame of Zagreus, Cyphera set off with her legendary steps that could cover 1,000 miles a day, searching for the scattered 300 rogues across Amphorius. Among them, 103 rogues volunteered when they heard of the upcoming divine deception. 87 were in Dolos, and Cyphera spent a month visiting each, persuading them. 65 had returned to their ancestral homes, and Cyphera spent 5 months visiting and convincing them. 19 were imprisoned, 2 faced execution, and Cyphera, with the help of the Gold Weaver, used diplomatic means to rescue them. Finally, 26 were missing, and it took Cypher 2 years and 5 months to find them all. In the end, it took 4 years and 7 months for all 300 rogues to gather in Dolos on the eve of Spirit Day. After a brief mobilization and discussion, the next day, with the help of the Gatekeeper, the rogues scattered across various city-states, each executing a trick they had most longed to try but never dared. What each of them accomplished is recorded in their individual biographies. Zagreus, in their true form, only appears on Spirit Day, drawn to masterful deceptions. The events of Spirit Day led to the near imprisonment of all 300 rogues, but also brought forth the infamous God of Thieves. This trickery titan was delighted by the Feast of Lies, taking the opportunity to mock every rogue caught in the snares of the law. When Cyphera, the 301st rogue, was finally captured, Zagreus revealed themselves to her in the final moments before curtainfall hour at the Spirit Day. Zagreus knew she had gone to great lengths to orchestrate this Spirit Day feast, all to summon them out into the open. Now Zagreus had come as promised, but how could a mere mortal like Cyphera ever hope to defeat a god of trickery? Yet, the instant the god of thieves appeared, Aglaia the Goldweaver, who had long been waiting in ambush, swiftly ensnared Zagreus within a golden thread of truth. Zagreus, attempting to use the divine power of lies to vanish, soon found that its fabrications had no place to hide before the unyielding golden thread. It turned out that Cyphera and Aglaia had devised the entire scheme, using the prophecy of the demigod Tribios to predict the god of thieves' appearance. Aglaia executed the capture, and in the end, Cyphera seized the opportunity to kill Zagreus and claim the core flame. Thus, the divine deception of Dolos was completed. Following the Spirit Day feast, Cyphera used cunning to lift Dolos' ban on deception. Historical records state that she returned to Akma with Aglaia the Goldweaver, and through the core flame trial became a demigod of trickery, with occasional sightings of her even to this day. As for the 300 rogues of Dolos, some say they perished in prison, while others claim they were rescued by Cyphera through the divine power of trickery, with most living out peaceful lives. Regardless, after the deception of the gods, the 300 rogues disappeared, their tales fading into obscurity. Just as the end of a Kremnos hero's journey is crowned with ascension to the throne, for a mere thief, ending a life of trickery with a divine deception is no ignoble fate.